Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In the middle of this search for the right drug that will help in putting an end to the COVID-19 pandemic, tracing contacts and sensitizing on keeping good hygiene as well as social distancing, it is imperative that we draw your attention to mental health of all the health workers who are at the front line battling this thing with and for us, as well as the impact that the lockdown will have on business owners and families. We have two people in the studio who are going to help us examine this, and it's my pleasure to welcome a consultant to the Ogun State Governor on Culture and Tourism, Denrele Shonariwo. Good morning. And we also have the Special Assistant to the Ogun State Governor, Mr. Dimeji Bello.
Good morning. And thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for coming. Let me start with you, sir, because I'm sure you have some contact with these frontline people who are helping to save our lives. How much do you think all this is affecting them psychologically?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. I believe that, everything is about good leadership, right? So my colleagues and I came together to independently, advise our superiors on what we thought, the steps we could take would be in the background, supporting the leadership that we have. And, a lot of us have had different types of experiences and exposures and things like that. And it was, at that time imperative to say that we have a lot of people supporting, these initiatives that the state government has reeled out and things like that, but who are supporting the carers. And for that reason, we came up with what we thought will be a good initiative, which is counseling, really the people of Ogun State. In that process, we have developed a robust IT platform, actually more of an engagement or a joint collaboration with a foreign company, etc. And, the task really is to care for people who feel vulnerable at this time. We've gone through an extensive screening process. We've actually put out a call for volunteers and things like that. We hit the charts within the first hour or so of putting out the calls and things like that, which shows that this care indeed is particularly needed, at this time. So, I think for us, it is to be responsible. It is to be kind at this time. Part of the kindness that I'm talking about is that some of the volunteers haven't even come from Ogun State. They're from nearby states and things like that. And, we just believe, as a forward-thinking government, as a forward-thinking people, that we all should come together at this time and support in whatever way we can. Like I said earlier, people feel very vulnerable, and for that reason, we have to keep people's minds at rest and, help them through this very difficult period. I believe that this is our own contribution as the younger stewards, within the administration.
Denrele, we heard at some point last week about somebody who suspected that she had the virus and went to the hospital, and all the health workers took off. I don't know if you heard that story.
Yeah, I do.
Yes. In these circumstances, I know that we're all praying for the health workers, but that kind of reaction at that particular hospital, how would you describe it?
I think it's very obviously painful as a patient to walk into a hospital and then people run up, because I think the first thing that people think about now is that you probably have corona. But so what we, as the administration, as Dimitri had said, was we wanted to come together and create an environment where you're not fearful, you're not panicking, you're not having anxiety. Because what happens now is that, you might cough a little bit or you might feel like you have a fever, and the next thing you think is corona as an individual. So that might just, you might not necessarily have corona, it might just be you just exercising your fears of what is going on out there. And what this platform that the Ogun State government has created is to say that whatever your symptoms are, whether you're depressed or you're having anxiety or you're fearful or you're scared, we want you to be able to speak to someone, to a mental health professional, a mental health counselor. And when we brought up the idea, obviously we had to take it to the Commissioner of Health first. And we said to her, this is what we want to do. For her, it was very important that the counselors, so the health practitioners, be certified, meaning that, once you start engaging with the patient, you have to know how their protocols required. You have to know how to engage with them. You also have to know when to disengage from the conversation. So as long as the counselors are certified, she really approved of the program, and so did the SSG and the Deputy Governor and the Governor himself. And so we were able to put, as Dimitri said, put out the call for the counselors to come on board. We had a lot of people. We verified them, and I think it's important to say that some people really want to help. They are home. They might be certified counselors, and not necessarily at the front line. So not necessarily the doctors and the nurses that are dealing with the virus, but they want to be able to use their skill and their service to be able to give back. So what this means is that these counselors, from the comfort of their home, they are not speaking one-on-one, so there's enough social distancing. They can speak to these people and offer them help. And when we look at the amount of people that are, so the first step was getting the counselors. The next step was, okay, if you need help, let us know. And if you see the amount of people that have, reached out in terms of them feeling vulnerable, some people say, I'm depressed, I'm scared. Even people in my home, so I'm practicing all the, washing my hands, but people in my home are not doing that, and that's frustrating for me. How do I handle that? So being able to speak to a counselor.
That's your own home?
Not mine.
Someone's.
Okay.
Yes.
Do the frontline workers also have access to these counselors? Because they are also facing issues.
Yes, they do. So we made it very open. We made it very open. And I think that it's really important to say that you might be going through issues. So before now, I would never have thought to speak to a therapist or anything like that. But it was in October last year when I had a life-changing situation. I knew I needed to speak to a therapist. So I know how important speaking to somebody is. And now and months to come, we're going to continue to need this counseling because those people, as you said, are going through so much. They're even fearful for their lives. We've heard about the doctors and the nurses even dying on the front line. So having to deal with that is going to be a big deal. So it's open to whether you're a citizen and you're sitting at home or you're lonely and depressed, or whether you're a healthcare professional, being able to, you might not necessarily be able to engage with your family at this point in time, being able to talk to somebody in that process is why we created the platform.
What's the platform they're using to communicate with them?
It's an app. It's branded to Ogun State, but it's an app. You can find it on our website.
Okay. We'll get to that. Okay. We'll get to that. But Dimeji, is it just limited to Ogun State only, or anybody around the country can reach out and talk to these counselors? Because at this point in time,
Yes.
this sounds like a very viable venture.
Yes.
You think, is it just limited to Ogun State?
For now, it is. But I must say that, this initiative was born out of empathy. But like you said, there could be a business case around this in the future. We had to present a social case for it, like Derele said earlier, to our superiors. But yes, we believe that, for now, our main priority are the good people of Ogun State. But then, if we have, members of the public from elsewhere who need the service, I don't think we're going to turn them back. Like I said as well earlier, that some volunteers have actually been outside from Ogun State and, once certified, once they've gone through the very robust screening that the Ministry of Health has put in place, we have accepted one or two of those. So I think that it will be fair to, reciprocate the gesture and look out for people who feel particularly stretched mentally, who feel vulnerable at this time, and really who need the help. It's not an Ogun State problem. It's not a Lagos State problem. It's a global problem, and we must fight it together.
Derele, so let's now talk about how to get in touch, how to get on board if I want to talk to someone or I want to volunteer. Is the volunteering still open?
We've closed it, but we can always open it back up because we got we got a lot of people wanting to cancel, so that was really good for us. On our website, oguncovid19.org, so people can go on there, and if you need help, you can fill a very small
Ogun COVID
19.ng.
19.ng.
19.ng, but you say 19.org.
It works as well, so you can use the .ng.org. It takes you to the same page.
.ng.org.
Yes, and within the website, it's a website that was created to give updates on Ogun State's response to the pandemic.
Okay.
So in terms of even if you want to support us, if you want to get updates, if you want to volunteer, if you want to be counseled, you can go on the website.
So the app is a web-based app.
No, once you get on the website and you fill out the form, then you begin the process of getting on the app.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking is from the website you can get access to the app, which
yes.
you now download for.
Exactly, yes. And
Okay.
very confidential.
So when was this? It's been launched already?
Yes, it's all over social media.
So how many people have responded? How many people do you have on board?
With the counselors or the patients?
Those that need.
We've had about 200 people who have, and counting. So it's still open.
Okay. So what are the trends, Dimeji? What are the things that they've talked about? What is it that's most pressing for those people who need counseling?
Okay, so I think that this is a problem that we've had generally.
Okay, that's the website, right?
Can't see
And
it.
it's black. Is it because of the situation?
It's actually green. So maybe it's
a
green.
dark.
It's a dark
Okay.
green, yeah.
All right, so Ogun State is responding to the spread of COVID-19 like that. Here. Okay. What's the major issue that most of these people talk about? Fear or what?
Okay, so when we started this conversation surrounding, trying to launch this initiative and things like that, our senior colleague, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, this was her major problem with best practice surrounding what it is that we were trying to achieve. So we can't. She wants to maintain a strict level of professionalism, and we support that. And for that reason, but you can only imagine, the kinds of concerns that have been raised thus far, and a wide variety, of concerns as well, which you will, and for that reason, you would appreciate why this service is of particular importance. Because we don't want to damage society, when we do recover from this. We want stronger people. We want stronger children. A lot of children are going to be out of school for an extended period. And we want all fabric of our society to remain intact and in dignity after this.
Okay, you want to say something? Real quick.
Just speaking to him, but I mean, I'm not going to tell you who the patients are, but we're getting a lot of, I'm lonely, I'm scared, I'm fearful, I'm depressed. You see a lot of that.
Yeah. What about the, should I say uneducated or should I say illiterate? I don't even know which word to use. Because we're talking about people who are read, who can go to your website and all that. What about those people? What are the plans to also include them in this?
Yes, so we are also figuring out a way to be able to reach them over the phone. That's the very first thing for us. That was actually a challenge for us because it's an app. So you're talking to each other through the app. Yeah. You're not exchanging numbers, so it's very confidential. And that was actually one of the things that was brought up in terms of being able to speak to those people. So we're looking for other solutions for that. We don't have it currently, but it's definitely something to think about for us.
Okay. Well, all we can do is just wish you luck in this endeavor, which seems to be laudable. Then Relationary will consultant to the Ogun State Governor on Culture and Tourism, as well as Dimeji Bello, Special Assistant to the Governor. Thank you very much for coming to let us know about this initiative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunrise will be right back in a moment with the home stretch.